somethings here.
Yep. All your 40-year-old ladies. I'm right here with
but with the purple hair. No, but I say all the time, like Housewives is not, sorry, 20 somethings where you haven't had like a major loss in your life. Like the real world is gone. Like Housewives will not be on forever. So, I mean, I don't know. Is Salt Lake City Housewives going to be on when Jen Shah gets out of prison? I would bet to say no, but
I would bet to say no too. And it's just it depends on how long she gets, but the world changes. And we've seen so much has changed in the last few years that we've seen rapid changes, and not just society and culture, but in the, political landscape, environmental landscape. There's been so much change. You don't know. And the world, Jen Shah goes in to custody probably in early 2023. How many years does she get? And when she gets back out, what does the world look like? It's going to be different. And I imagine that she has to be a little worried about relevance. Teresa Giudice was not in that long, still very relevant when she got out. It's different. Martha Stewart too, not in that long. And Martha Stewart absolutely got the short end of the stick from the other. She got the most prison time out of anyone that was involved in this thing, but that is a whole nother story for another day. But she wasn't in that long either. So she comes out, becomes friends with Snoop Dogg, and her career bounces. It's great. I don't know if Jen's going to have that same trajectory depending on how much time she gets.
I agree. Martha was a shorter period of time, like Teresa. I mean, why? So what is the motivation? Because I mean, is with Jen Shah, is it that there were 2 cases against her? It could have been 30 something years. One of them is now dropped, and what the max sentence could now be, like, I think 15 years.
I think the max is 30 on the one count. She's not going to get anywhere near to that. Financial crimes don't. She doesn't have any prior convictions that we're aware of. We're going to start to see sentencing reports probably in the beginning of October, but the other co-defendants have gotten years, and they're saying she's the most culpable. So is it realistic to see her in that 7 to 10 year range? Probably, based on what other defendants have gotten. This is 3 sets of prosecutions across 10 plus defendants each prosecution, and they're saying she's one of the most culpable. So they're going to be arguing for more time, but they're not going to ask. The government said they're not going to ask for more than 14. Could the court sentence her to more? Yes. Are they going to? No, absolutely not.
And so what's the motivation, like right before trial, to plead guilty rather than roll your dice? Is it just, it is a lesser sentence, and if you go to trial and you're found guilty, you know what I mean? Like, what is it, the money? Like, we have to pay back $9 million. Let's save this. I'm going to lose anyway. Or is it like, well, maybe there'll be a little bit more, because you can go to trial and still get a lesser sentence, right? Even if you're found guilty.
Could. It's unusual if the government's made an offer that you would get less time than that offer after you've gone through trial, which always kind of sits wrong with me, because it's like, if you have the right to a trial, you're innocent until proven guilty. You shouldn't be punished for exercising that right. But again, once all the evidence is out, the judge has heard everything that you've done now. So that's in their mind, that they know it all. I think for Jen Shah, she had to balance the stress on her family and her kids of her going through trial, the money it's going to cost to go through this trial, which is hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through a trial like this for 6 weeks of a federal fraud case. And then you've got to look at what's going to be known about you and what you've done after this trial, because there's going to be people sitting in that courtroom every single day reporting out what's going on. You're going to hear what Stuart Smith says on the stand. Is it better that that never sees the light of day? Because if you plead, none of that comes out. The judge doesn't know more about the case. There's not more, detail in the public, and you can start to move on. So I think it's money, privacy, stress on her family. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing that changed her mind, is really protecting her kids and her husband, so that even while she is, dealing with being punished for the things that she's done, they can move on. You never know what's going to come out at a trial that could be damaging. And you don't want something that's going to, potentially put Sharif in the crosshairs at work either,
Well, that was my next question. What I've been saying, well, we have this thing. I know they're totally different cases. Does Erika know? Does Erika know? I mean, could it have been at trial that now Sharif gets dragged into this, or no, that was no chance of that happening? Like, did Sharif know anything? I mean,
he's not going to get dragged in and be prosecuted, but Could it come up what he knew, what he didn't know? That's possible. I mean, he is an attorney. I don't know if he's I don't think he's still a practicing attorney, but there's no way he didn't know what was going on with the FTC investigation and those depositions. Your spouse doesn't get deposed without you chatting about it when you also have training as a lawyer. I can't believe that. But Sharif also has stayed pretty silent to it. He doesn't get into stuff on social media. He's not the one on the show. And he's been like, hey, we're going to figure it out. And so the audience has definitely not treated Sharif and Erika the same at all.
No, I think it's a double standard. And do you think he's going to figure it out? I mean, lots of people think this marriage is like going to go down within minutes.
I don't know. It seems like they've been through a lot together. And because Salt Lake City is a new franchise, we don't really know. I mean, how much do you ever know what's going on? I was surprised like you when Erika filed for divorce from Tom Girardi. It's like, wait, what? So do we ever really know? I don't know. But having somebody in prison for that many years can absolutely pose challenges on a marriage. But is that something he can weather? Their kids are a bit older. He's not stuck at home with young children. He can work and be with his kids. We'll see.
I just wonder if, well, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say, I just wonder if, like, I know she's pled guilty and it was asked a million times. Do you understand what you're pleading guilty? Do you understand this? Do you understand what you did is wrong? Do you? Yes. I wonder if she now understands, like, 7 to 10, like 10 years is 10 years. Like, like if you knew it was coming, you're not happy, but I think until you're there, it hasn't really hit you until you're like sleeping on your second night and you're hearing screaming down the hall, or, I mean, whatever it is, your Botox is wearing off. Like, until you're there, I don't know if it hits you. Like 10 years is like 10 years. I don't know. I don't think it's hit her that, like, you're really not going to get a year. Like, I wonder if she still thinks, I mean, yes, you think she has a team that's explaining this to her. Like, you're not Teresa. This isn't 17 months or whatever.
And really, she might still be optimistic that this is all just going to be like, oh, it's fine. Look, it's $9 million in restitution. We'll pay the restitution. To do that, I have to work. They're not going to sentence me to this long. I think sentencing is going to be very interesting for Jen, and seeing what happens after that will be very interesting. And I don't know if it ever sinks in that the amount of really trouble that she is facing and the amount of seriousness, the severity of it, I don't know if that will sink in until she's, in prison, can't leave, isn't having the, privacy she is accustomed to when she showers or uses the restroom. It's going to be a big wake up call. And hopefully she takes a little time to talk to people that have been in federal prison to at least start to mentally prepare herself for what this is going to be like.
Yeah.
Maybe not Joe Giudice. I think that's his new business. Maybe not him, but
is that his new business? I didn't even know. Is that his, like, giving, like, consulting with people?
Consulting.
Wow.
Yes. I saw it. Gosh, I saw that on social media a while ago and I was like, that's interesting.